A lot of men over 45 think time will fix everything after a divorce. But that is a big lie, and it'll keep you stuck. If you don't take action, if you don't rebuild, then the best years of your life are going to slip by, and they're going to slip by fast. In this video, I'm going to tell you the 3 things you must do to keep that from happening before it's too late. You know, divorce wrecks men physically, mentally, socially. Physically, we're far more likely to gain a lot of weight after divorce. Mentally, twice as likely to suffer from depression as females. And socially, more likely to be isolated. Mainly because, in a lot of cases, the wife's network or social network was really the husband's too. You end up being friends with your wife's friends' husbands, things like that. So when it goes south or things go a little bit wonky, well, you know, the women will tend to support each other, which they should, but it makes it really weird when you have the mutual friends, and more often than not, it's the guy that ends up kind of isolated. So what's that leave you? Well, fat, depressed, and isolated. And that is a recipe for a pretty crappy life. So guys get stuck here. They waste 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the rest of their life. And they're stuck in the past, waiting for time or somebody or something to show up and just fix it. And the reality is, time does not heal. Action does. So here's the thing. Your old life is gone. You hit the hard deck, and the life that you know, it's dead. There is no, I was only below the hard deck for 2 minutes in real life. No, it is over. There is no way to go back to that. But here's the thing. Your old life is dead, but you're not. You're here watching this, so you survived. So now you got a choice. You can either sit there and burn in the wreckage, you can turn to the red pill crowd, or you can just be miserable and let your life just go downhill. Or you can make the decision kind of to do what we used to do in air combat training. You realize you crashed, you put your tail between your legs, you swallow your pride, and you go back and you debrief and you figure out what went wrong. Right? Not blaming, but what went wrong? What happened that led to that? You got your brothers for support. But here's the thing too. No one is coming to rescue you. They're there for you, but you're the one that has to make that decision. If you want to move on with your life, you want to rebuild, then you've got to decide that I'm not going to stay in the past. I'm going to move into the future, and I'm going to look at this not as I've lost what I had before, because it's gone. You can't get it back. But as, hey, now I am free to decide what it is that I'm going to do and what I'm going to build in the future. And that's kind of exciting. You know, even if there's a lot that you've got to work through, but knowing that you get to choose where you're going now. You don't have to answer to somebody else. You get to choose your future if you decide. So there are 3 non-negotiables to rebuilding. The first, I told you I was going to give you 3. The first one, and the most important, is physical mastery. You need to make sure you take care of your body. All right? Build a stronger, disciplined body. Now, I'm not talking about becoming a bodybuilder. I'm not saying you have to run around in CrossFit shirts. In fact, please don't. But strength training is incredibly valuable. It does wonderful things not only for your body, but for your head. And if you're not there, you know, if you're not ready to start lifting weights, go for a walk. It sounds like it's, you know, a walk. It's not a big, what's that going to do for me? The reality is when I was going through this, and guys, I'm going through this with you, it was about 9 months ago, but things have really turned around for me, and they're on the upswing. Quite a journey to go. But those walks, they made all the difference, because one, they got me out in the fresh air, they cleared my head, and they also, what I did was I listened to Audible books. And so I was learning as I was walking, and I was thinking and reflecting, and it really helped me to turn things around. So physical mastery leads to a more attractive, healthier, better feeling overall you. And it's sure, it makes you, there is no doubt, when you're 40 and 50, if you're in pretty good shape, it lifts you above most of the guys that are out that are available. But it's also for you, so that you feel better about yourself. Second thing, mental resilience. I'm talking about reprogramming your mind. And I'm not talking about fluffy, gosh golly, people like me. Gosh golly, people like me. I'm good, good enough, smart enough, not that kind of stuff. But I am talking about reading, learning, listening to books, meditation. If you've never gotten into that, we're going to talk about it in the future. There's so much there that SEALs do it. It's not some woo-woo thing that you got to be on a yoga mat in a little sarong. Breath work and cold showers sounds scary, but God, they do good things for you. Third thing, social circle. As I said, a lot of times men lose that and you end up isolated. So you need to surround yourself or work to surround yourself with high value men. And by high value, I'm not talking about their bank statement. I'm talking about people who lift you up. That is so important that the Bravo in Hard Deck Bravo stands for brotherhood. When I was going through this at the worst part, the first couple months, man, I was so upset and I was just home and I kind of was grieving, but I had close friends that helped build me up and they gave me the ear and they listened to, the things I was going through, but they were also somebody to call me out. They called me out on my BS when I started just, wallowing in my misery, when I decided that I was going to be a victim, when I decided to blame, or when I started thinking about things that weren't necessarily in my best interest, like, oh, maybe I should just go back, that kind of thing. So friendship, social circle, absolutely. That's a biggie, super imperative. Building new friendships, there's groups, there's meetups, there's hiking, there's all kinds of things there. So just make sure that when you do that, you reach out and you connect with folks who are going to lead you down the right path, not drag you down with them. So actionable takeaways for you. Here's what I want you to do, or here's what I'm going to recommend. Pick one of those areas to start rebuilding today. Not next week, not next month, not when you get around to it, today. It could be physical mastery. Take one small step. Go get a pair of tennis shoes. Go grab, a watch that counts your steps. Or if you want to focus on mental resilience, take 5 minutes to learn how to meditate. You can download the Calm app. You don't need to jump into an hour right away. Or download the book, How to Be a 3% Man on Audible. That's a great book. It's by a guy named Corey Wayne. And it helped me out quite a bit when I was trying to come out of that and look at how am I going to get back into the world after 25 years and having this go south. And lastly, your social circle. If you don't have somebody, go out, either reach out to some of your old friends that you have let the friendship kind of slide, or look at things like I said, like meetup. Look for a group, look for something that you can join just to get out there and rub shoulders, and talk with other folks, because it will help you and it'll lift you back up. One thing I will caution you against on that is be careful with the local divorce groups like the Facebook divorcees type thing. I looked at that. I actually, got into that just a tiny bit at the beginning, and there were some really nice people. And I'm sure there's some great people with great advice in some of those groups, but there's also a ton of toxic victim and blame mentality. And honestly, fellas, there was a lot of blind leading the blind, so tread carefully there. Get started, one single step, one bite at a time, because building momentum, and it starts slow, but it builds, is everything. So let me ask you this. Which area, body, mind, social, do you need to rebuild first? Drop a comment down below. I will read every single one of those. And hey, this is just the beginning. There is a lot more I want to share about my journey and about rebuilding after a 40s, 50s divorce. So I've got another video coming in a couple days, and that should help you take it even farther. Keep an eye on the pinned comments below, and I'll drop a link once it's live.